afternoon to the residents of the village of Hempstead. Just want to comment on a couple of things that have happened recently on the positive side. Last week we had the National Night Out. It's an opportunity for the police and the community to connect. It was a good evening. I applaud the people that were involved, our staff, and all of the residents who attended. I have to give a particular shout out to the Doric Lodge because they donated many bikes and a lot of gift certificates to the winners of a raffle that they held, so we applaud that. Also want to announce that this Thursday at Kennedy Park at 6 o'clock, we're going to have the Hispanic Heritage Program. Again, 6 o'clock this Thursday, Kennedy Park, and the public is invited. Now, the other part of the presentation. We are experiencing a season of suffering, not just in the village of Hempstead, but throughout the United States and, for that matter, the world. And it feels sometimes like we're carrying on by ourselves. We seem like the road ahead of us is daunting, but I'm sure, as always, we'll rise to the challenge. I must mention to you the key thing, in my opinion, if we're going to have success in the village with a community that is safe, would be the moral leadership that we're looking for. And we have a lot of it. Individuals, movements, institutions, organizations, the community, faith-based, they're all coming on a positive note, and I applaud that, and we need that. This is a season of renewal, but there's no argument that we have a problem. The shots fired has been extremely unacceptable. Now, one might say, well, what's causing all of this? Well, let's review a couple of the possibilities. One, certainly the pandemic, COVID-19. A lot of people have been released from jail because of it. It's a major concern. But then again, there's also the bail reform. Now, the bail reform was passed at the state level, and it has allowed some people to get released from jail earlier than otherwise. Now, there is parts of the bail reform that I applaud. I have been to enough arraignment courts to see people who have money able to pay their bail, go home and hire the best lawyers possible, and then in the comfort of their own home with the support of family make a decision that has a major impact on the rest of their life. Flip that to the other side. I've seen people who go to the arraignment court unable to meet bail for even the same crime, and they are institutionalized at the Nassau County Jail. They may stay there for a while, for quite a while. At some point that their frustration is such that they are met one day by their court-appointed attorney, who may be good, but also may be inexperienced and non-threatening, and they are told, how would you like to go home tonight? That's all they hear, home tonight. What they have to do is plead guilty to the charges, and they will be given time served, and they are released. That leads to a downward spiral, which can have repercussions which are unsafe and ungood for the people. So I can see that perspective. But what is happening is some people are being arrested with gun-related charges, and they're out of jail within a day or two, literally. And they're back on the street. Chances are they haven't been rehabilitated in that little bump. They're going to end up doing some of the same things over again, creating more of the concern we have, the shots fired in our community. Also, gun sales are up. Now, you could figure out whatever reason it may be. Maybe people call themselves trying to protect themselves, but whatever it is, legal gun sales are up. And then, of course, unfortunately, the illegal guns are available. So they'll have to call on the federal government to do what they can for the 95 corridor, where a lot of the guns find their way into our community, and see if that can't be stopped. So there is a tremendous concern. At the state level, I have asked our representatives, the Honorables Thomas and Darling, to look at the Bail Reform Act and see if there isn't something they can do to make it so it's a little safer for the people. Meanwhile, we have to accept what's at hand, and we have to do what we can. But I should give you this figure because it's frightening. In the guns-involved violence elimination, give statistics, and this comes from the state. The numbers are that the shooting incidences with people who have actually been hit by guns is up 88.5% in New York State. Outside of New York City, 88.5%. Shooting instances involving some kind of an injury is up 80%. Obviously, these are not acceptable, and unfortunately, we reflect the fact that the numbers are up. So what are we doing? Well, here we go. We have managed this year to date to take some 60 odd guns off the street. Now that number is ongoing because the investigations are ongoing. We've recently assigned 6 of our police officers to community policing to address quality of life issues and to also be able to go to areas that we would call gun-prone locations. These officers will also be assigned to periodic foot patrols on Terrace Avenue. Now, we're also going to hire an additional 15 police officers. The board has accepted this. I applaud that, but of course it awaits civil service approval. We are deploying a 3-officer plainclothes unmarked car to concentrate on hotspots. And this is being paid for by state grant money. We're also deploying 2 officers in a car to address quality of life issues. One of our problems in Hempstead is the homelessness, and they are looking into that type of a situation. Now, I have called and have had conversation with the Department of Social Services. They have sent their intervention team into Hempstead. Most of the time, it's a daytime effort on their part. Obviously, the nighttime would be more meaningful. Nevertheless, the intervention team is looking for people that they can help, but they have to be unemployed, they have to have no income, they have to be citizens, and they have to be willing to enter a shelter. That's not always a given. Now, recently, I've been informed that if you are undocumented, but you have a child that was born in this country, you can also receive services. But again, you have to be willing to go to the shelter. Now, all of that changes if it's cold weather. Once the temperature gets below freezing, the Department of Social Services will help everyone. But you can see there are some limitations as to what they do, and that's uncomfortable. We also, going back to the list of things we're trying to do to help, we have a command bus that's rotated between hotspots. Right now it's on Terrace Avenue. Unfortunately, less than 2 weeks ago, a young man, Carson Banks, who I've known for over 20 years, was shot and killed. When I got to the scene, I talked to his sister, his older brother, both of whom I've known. It's a tragedy. But once this occurs, the homicide department of the Nassau County Police Department takes over the investigation. Our detectives assist. There is progress made, but until an arrest is made, we sit here and await the news from the Nassau County Police Department, the homicide squad. If it's a shooting but not a death, the 3rd Precinct, again Nassau County, will come in, and they too will take that investigation over with assist from our own detectives. Now, detectives, we have a detective who is assigned to the firearms task force, and he's on that task force with federal agents, and he is involved too in a large part of getting guns off the street. We're going to have warrant sweeps. I can't comment much further on that except to tell you that the Nassau County Police Department, the Parole Department, and the Probation Department, along with the Village of Hempstead Police Department, will be involved in this phenomenon. It means that if you have an outstanding warrant, you're going to be picked up in one big sweeping motion. There's another program I just want to mention quickly, SNUG, which you know is spelled guns spelled backwards. It's a community-based gun violence outreach and is deployed whenever there's a shooting to go to that area and see if they can help in putting to rest any of the neighborhood problems. Now, mind you, that's determined by the Department of Criminal Justice, and the areas they pick in the Village of Hempstead is something they do, and we have input but not the final say. Nevertheless, this gives us more individuals to be involved. So some of the efforts, and I want to get online even more with you as there's more to report. I appreciate all of the people who have made positive remarks, all the people who made any remarks. I read most of the Facebook opportunities. Everything and anything that is said is weighed and evaluated. My phone is available. I'm available. And certainly we all want to work together for a better Hempstead and a safer Hempstead. Please, everybody, remain safe. God bless. Thank you.